Welcome to week 2. So, the hard part in your mind is done. You have made and loaded a video, which means let's start making videos. Unfortunately, the difficult part of flipping is that you need to do all the behind the scenes work so that students can actually learn from your videos. And you have one great advantage. You are taking a flipped class about flipping. So it's time to dissect what we did in this class, just like a chef would pick apart what they ate so that you know how to recreate it. So the first thing would be that first discussion board. We figured out what technology you had available, because if you are someone who has flipped before, or if you are someone who has no means of sharing videos with students, both of those situations have to be addressed before we can have you dive into the learning process. So as you think about your students, you're going to have to do the same thing. Don't assume that they can start the videos. If you do, you're going to probably end up with a couple behavior problems. The next thing is that second discussion board. We wanted to start with the skill building, which for flipped instruction means you needed to go out and see a bunch of examples. A lot of times teachers feel that they have to present this knowledge, that they are the keeper of the knowledge and they must share it with the masses. But trust your students. Would you have enjoyed sitting through a 20-minute lecture where we showed you one video after another video after another video? Or did you get interested in the hunt itself and finding things that pertain to you that were different from others? Now, if you don't have technology for this option, it might be that you have students look through books or through magazines or whatever you can get your hands on. But when you think about that skill building, telling is not the same thing as doing. So really start at the basics of exploring the skill. Then if you think about the third discussion board, this is where you are going to actually have students try something out simple. So on the third discussion board, we asked you to make us a very short video because it wasn't a matter of how good was A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. It was a question of could you do A, B, C, D, E, and F? And if you couldn't, we knew there was no point in even start making quality videos because who knows if we could get them uploaded in a way that we could share them. So same is true with your students. Don't give them the great supplies first. Let them make mistakes and practice in a way that is carefree and doesn't matter. Then from there you actually can go into creating the artwork, which is what we will be doing in the third week. But this is where, looking at the man behind the curtain, you have to do a lot of heavy lifting, because what you don't know is the structure that you provide students is what really makes flipped instruction work, not the videos that you create. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you're sending students through some sort of reflection with flipping. The more that you can do this, the more students will get out of it the next time they embark in the learning. Because a lot of times, when you think back on our learning, it could be that it was discussion board 2. You just didn't look into those resources enough. And upon reflection, you realize the value of it now. I'm making this up. I'm sure you're fabulous. But, students, you got to let them realize their own mistakes. So, some factors that you need to consider for success in this second week and why this is so important is because the teacher is not needed for the telling of information. But think about all the things you tell them. You don't just do the demo. You tell them where to store stuff. You tell them how to pick stuff up. You tell them how to ask their neighbor for help. You tell them how to come into the classroom. You tell them how to leave the classroom. All of those things that are specifically isolated to, for example, paint, must be said in the paint making videos. If you only put the doing, then you are just creating a huge headache for yourself if all of that information is missing. Then the teacher is not needed, sorry, I'm looking at the screen, is not needed for knowing what to do next. This is huge. Huge. If they finish early, which they will, they need to know what to do next without having to ask for your help. which is when we get into, so that first bullet, that red bullet, that's what we're going to be doing this week. Or in that first discussion board, that next bullet, that's what we're doing when we are making our actual learning guides for students. And then the thing that you need to be aware of, because right now you should be having a panic attack, what's the purpose of me, is that you are constantly giving feedback. You're giving the feedback in forms of formative assessment. Do not think of a sheet of paper that you collect, check, and then hand back. That's stupid. That's the whole reason for flipping, is that you don't have to do that. If they were going to do a 2-minute formative assessment, you have an opportunity to check and give feedback on that 2-minute formative assessment immediately. Grading for flipped classrooms is done in class. You are also providing questions. Question, question, question. Why did you do that? Why did you make this choice? Why do you think this didn't work? I mean, that's the part of teaching you love. And that's why you flip, is so that you have time to do that with every student. Also, reflection and in learning targets. You are constantly asking the students what their goals are. So when you interact with us this week, you should hear us saying things or writing things, because I guess we can't talk, asking you question after question after question to make sure that you're diving deeper into that knowledge. So with that, oh look, now you can see my screen. Enjoy this week 2 learning, and know that the heavy lifting of this week is going to pay off in spades when you actually use your flipped product. Best of luck. Bye.